Hi there guys, Luis from Vintage Action. I hope you guys are all well, and today guys I'm here to talking you about Carolco pictures, and I'm going to give you like my top 10 ranking of Carolco movies. I mean, if you guys grew up in the 80s and the 90s, you definitely know Carolco pictures. This logo here behind me, they gave us so many amazing cult classics, especially in the 80s, beginning of the 90s, that we grew up watching and we love, and the big box office cult classics, movies that are part of the movie scene now, literally that movies that everyone knows, even if you didn't grow up in the 80s or in the 90s. These movies that I'm going to be talking you about are part of the movie history. Literally they are like cult classics that everyone knows, even like a 15-year-old now, a 20-year-old. They are part of the pop culture. They are like huge movies, and these guys here from Carolco Pictures were responsible for it, and I'm going to show you my top 10 today. They were like an American independent film studio. They were founded in 1976 by Mario Casar, Lebanese, and Andrew Vanja, that was like Hungarian. And the guys, they stayed together until 89 when Andre Vanja, he went to create like Synergy Pictures, that they had like a relationship with Disney, and they produced some movies like Die Hard with a Vengeance, and but they were together until 89, and Casar continued until 95 when unfortunately, just give you some story about Carolco Pictures, when unfortunately they went bankruptcy. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about it, but literally the movies that these guys were responsible, they are amazing. Some of the best cult classics. They gave us the first three Rambos, Terminator 2, Basic Instinct, Universal Soldier, and the list goes on. And I'm going to show you my top 10, and you guys are going to see, and probably you'll remember, probably if you are big fans, most of the Carolco movies, but probably you guys will remember when you see my top 10, all the movies that are like Carolco movies, and probably some of you guys don't even know. Of course, if you are big fans, the true hardcore fans, this one were Carolco movies. Now they are like Studio Canal. Studio Canal owns literally most of the 99% or 95% of the Carolco movies. So they bought the rights in 95 when they went bankruptcy. So they are owned by Studio Canal. They are a French company, and they release in the UK, in Germany, and in France. They don't release movies in the US, but usually they do that. They have agreements and partners. Usually it's like Lionsgate doing the releases in the US. So they don't own these movies. All these Carolco movies are owned by Studio Canal in France. Right, and they do the release in Europe, but in the US usually it's Lionsgate doing it and you have also Kino Lorber, and sometimes like Shout Factory. They release some movies from Studio Canal. They own the rights, but they don't distribute the movies in the US. So they have partners in the US that they do that for them. And they were like gigantic in like I told you guys, in the 80s and the 90s. They were amazing, but then they're starting having any major studio. That happens with many big studios, it happened with Canon, it happened with PM Entertainment, it happened with so many amazing studios like New Line Cinema that was bought by Warner Brothers and everything. So basically they went bankruptcy in 95. They had some struggles already in 93 with Cliffhanger, even though Cliffhanger was an amazing hit, right? But that one, it was Sony Pictures, TriStar Pictures. They put a lot of the money to that one. So basically that one was released by TriStar Pictures, by Sony in the US, but Carolco had the worldwide rights to it. So they distributed the movie worldwide, but it was distributed by Sony in 93. And basically they start struggling in the 90s, and they bet everything on the movie Cutthroat Island, directed by Rene Arlen, that you might know. He directed like the Finnish director that he directed like Die Hard 2 and one of the one of the Nightmare on Elm Streets and Deep Blue Sea. I mean, he directed so many cult classics, Renee Arlen. But this one it bombed in the box office. He had like Gina Davis and Matthew Modine as well, and this one cost like loads of money, and but literally they couldn't never recoup from the investment they did on Cutthroat Island, right? So, and that one, it bombed. It was like a pirate movie, right? So, and at the time, it was not like a big thing. Basically, they lost 147 million with the Cutthroat Island, and imagine that's a lot of money. They put all the money, and they thought that was going to be the money, the move that's going to bring them back, because they were kind of struggling financially in the beginning of the 90s. Was only Mario Casar, because Andrei Vajna, he left to Synergy. So from 89 until 95, it was only Mario Casar. They reunited again, like a few years later. They partnership again in '98. They formed C2 Pictures. They were responsible for Terminator 3 and Basic Instinct 2. But when you reunite like all these years after, it's never the same thing, right? So that was after they went bankruptcy, and Casar, he sold the Carolco Pictures to Studio Canal. Obviously, they bought all the rights, and then Andrei Vajna, he left Synergy as well. That's why they reunited, and they still had a few movies together, beginning of 2000s, late 90s. But that was it. But they were mainly known by Carolco Pictures, and again, guys, that was their last like big movie, directed by Renee Arlen, that you know from Die Hard 2. But it was a big bomb, and imagine 147 million, almost 150 million they lost on that one. It was not a big thing, the pirate movies at the time, but then it became a big thing with Pirate of the Caribbean, beginning of 2000. That was a big one, but this one wasn't, and they went bankruptcy, unfortunately. But I'm not here to talk about negative things, bad things, because they gave us so many cult classics. And even though they went bankruptcy, Studio Canal bought the movies. They put all the movies on 4K. Most of these cult classics I'm going to talking about, they've released them on 4K, Studio Canal. They restore all these ones, and this is amazing that Mario Casar and Andrei Vajna, and thank you guys for giving us these cult classics that are part of the pop culture. They are part of like everyone's like especially the 80s, the 90s growing up. Everyone knows these ones, and even people that didn't grow up in that era, they know all these like amazing movies. So let me again, guys, this Studio Canal bought like the entire library from Carolco, like roughly for like 60 million in 96, and they are still today, 30 years after, they are the ones who own the rights to. So let me start my top 10 again, guys. This is my top 10, personal top 10. I mean, your top 10 might differ, and it's like always opinions. It differs from person to person. So number 10, even though it's not like an action movie, and they were known for their action, sci-fi, mainly action and sci-fi movies that became like gigantic, most of them super famous movies with Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme, all amazing actors, all amazing movies. But number 10, to put this one, Basic Instinct, an amazing like thriller, one of the best thrillers out there, directed by the Paul Verhoevens, that directed also Total Recall and RoboCop. This is an amazing like thriller, so I have to put this one on the list, even though it's not like an action movie, but this is one of the biggest movies from the 90s. And that's right, guys, this is a Carolco movie, so they were the ones producing this one. So at number 10, Basic Instinct, Michael Douglas, Sharon Stone, an amazing movie. So let me go to number 9 now, another Carolco classic, Stallone, Look Up. This one has an amazing like cast: Sylvester Stallone, Donald Sutherland, Sonny Landham, Johnny Amos, Darlene Flugel. This is an amazing movie. Stallone locked up in the prison. I watched this countless times growing up. An amazing movie. And this one is another one that is like a Carolco movie. Lock Up with Stallone. A great movie. All this is like 4K releases that Studio Canal did the scans, and they restore all these movies. Most of these cult classics, super famous, they restore them all on 4K, and most of them, this is like UK releases that they were actually released by Studio Canal. As you can see, in US, most of these movies I'm showing you, they were released by Lionsgate because it's their partner in US. So even though it's Lionsgate like releasing them in US, all the scans were made by Studio Canal because they are the ones who own the rights, except for one movie that I'm going to show you. At number 7, one of people's favorites, Total Recall. Again, Paul Verhoeven from Basic Instinct, RoboCop, and you have Schwarzenegger, Michael Ironside, Sharon Stone. This is the gorgeous Steelbook. It was released by Studio Canal here in UK. This one was released in the US as well. I mean, one of my favorites growing up. Sci-fi, action, Total Recall. At number 7 on the list from Carolco's movies. At number 6, another one of my favorites. And here you can see here, which movie is this one? Red Heat, Schwarzenegger and James Belushi. This is the gorgeous Steelbook that again was released by Studio Canal, the ones that owns the rights to it. And as you can see here, Red Heat. And this is another cult classic, a cop buddy, like action comedy. And you have like Schwarzenegger, you have like James Belushi, you have Edo Ross, Walter Hill directed this one that you might know for 48 Hours. So he directed, from The Warriors, he directed this one, an amazing cult classic. At number 8, Red Heat, another cult classic from Carolco Pictures. So now I'm going to show you my number 6 is like on the list. It's like a Rambo 3. It's number 6. Let me see if I'm lost. Number 10, 9, 8, 7. That's right. At number 6, Rambo 3. Another Carolco release. I mean, I love the Rambo. I have all the 5 movies on 4K, especially the first 3, the trilogy. So I have here like, as you can see, this is like a German release that contains the fully uncut trilogy of the Rambo, the first 3 movies, the ones we grew up watching, and the ones that Carolco was responsible for. And yeah, at number 6, Rambo 3, full of action. It was filmed like in Israel. It's supposed to be in Afghanistan. It's full of, probably from the 3 movies, is the one that is most like action packed, right? So and it was the one with the biggest budget. So Rambo 3 from 1989, a cult classic. This one is number 6 in my list. So at number 5, one that I always loved, grew up watching, and it's 1993's like Cliffhanger. This Stallone's cult classic. Again, this is a gorgeous Steelbook, and this one is the Steelbook from TriStar, like pictures from Sony Pictures in the US, because like I told you before, they were having some financial issues. So basically, this one here, guys, was released. It was released 2 years ago by Sony Pictures in the US, celebrating the 30th anniversary. And this is the 4K, and it was released by Sony Pictures. But you also can see here like TriStar Pictures, Carolco Pictures. And again, guys, because like Sony owns the rights to this one in the US, this is one of the exceptions, but worldwide, it was Studio Canal putting this one in UK, France, Germany. But I got this gorgeous Steelbook from Sony Pictures in the US, and this one is one of my favorites as well. So at number 5, Stallone, John Lithgow, Michael Rooper. I mean, this is one of my favorite movies like growing up, like Cliffhanger. It was a super successful movie at the time, even though they needed the help from Sony to finish this one, Carolco, but ended up being like an amazing cult classic. At number 5, 1993's Cliffhanger. So let me show you now. Number 4, the one and only, the original First Blood, Rambo, First Blood Part 1. I know for many of you guys, probably this will be the first on the list, and I don't blame you. I mean, without the first Rambo, it will never be the second or the third, the entire franchise. And this one, for a lot of people, this one is like one of the favorites, if not the favorite. And this one probably was the most successful movie that was done by, at the time, by Carolco, right? So they made this one, and this one became super successful. That's why that allowed them to do the sequels, and then all the other cult classics I've been showing you. Stallone's, Brian Dennehy, Richard Grina, the original First Blood at number 4 on my list. At number 3, another Carolco movie. That's right, guys. T2. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, another Carolco movie. It's probably their most successful movie when it comes to the box office. The first one was like a Ryan Pictures movie, but they bought the rights, Carolco, and they did the second one. So still today, Studio Canal owns this one. It was a Carolco movie. It was amazing, groundbreaking. I mean, probably this one, for a lot of people, some people prefer the first one, but this one is by far the most successful Terminator in the franchise, and one of the most famous, iconic movies like ever. And this is a Carolco Pictures movie, and a lot of people complain about this 4K, that is too waxy. They use AI. They did like upscale. They didn't do like a 35 millimeters like scan. And again, some people saying Lionsgate has nothing to do with it. It was like Studio Canal doing the scan to this one, and the restoration, because they are the ones owning the rights, and they release it in Europe. And they have the partner in the US that is Lionsgate, but Studio Canal were the ones doing it. So at number 3, like T2, Terminator 2 on the list. At number 2, probably my favorite Rambo, Rambo 2. So this is probably my favorite. First Blood Part 2, Rambo 2. It's on number 2 on my list. I know a lot of people prefer the first one. Some people like the third better. But I mean, the first one is more like it's action, but it's more like dramatic. It's like a drama. It's a great movie, the first one. The second one is totally different. It's more like action. It goes to Vietnam. And it's action-packed. It was filmed in Mexico, but he goes to Vietnam to get all the prisoners, American prisoners there, and it's action-packed, full of action. And then you have the third one, is even more action-packed. But here, like Charles Napier, you have Martin Cove on this one as well. An amazing movie, probably my favorite Rambo, from 1985, actually the same year the Rocky 4 was released. 1985's First Blood 2, Rambo 2, the second on my list. And the first one on my list, I know probably this is going to be, a lot of people are going to say, really? You choose that one as number 1 in your list from all these cult classics? I know, guys, but I was always like a big Van Damme fan, and Dolph Lundgren's as well. And for some reason, I always loved this movie growing up. I had the VHS, then I bought the DVD. So this one was always one of my favorites. So I have to say, like 1992's Universal Soldier, directed by Roland Emmerich, then ended up directing Independence Day, and he did so many cult classics. You know, Van Damme, you have Dolph Lundgren. This one for me is like an amazing movie, action, sci-fi. I really love this movie. I know a lot of you guys might say, you know, really better than Terminator 2, better than Rambo, better than Total Recall. And I feel you guys, it's just my opinion, it's just my top 10 list. Probably yours will be different, and feel free to comment down below and let me know which one is your favorite of this top 10 list. I just mentioned to you guys which one will be your favorite, which one will be your top 10 on your top one, right? Which one will be your favorite? Let me know if you guys disagree with my top 10. Probably a lot of people have like a totally different top 10. Maybe some people put this one at number 10, not even like number 2 or 3 or 4. They'll put this one at number 10. They'll put maybe Rambo and at the top of the list. They'll put T2. But for me, I mean, I always loved this one growing up. It's amazing action, sci-fi. And you have Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren, two of my favorites, and teaming up together. I watched this one countless times. So on my top of the list, again, Universal Soldier, number 1, 92. Rambo 2 from 85 at number 2 on the list. Number 3 on the list, 1991, Terminator 2. Number 4 on my list, 1982, First Blood. Number 5, 1993, Cliffhanger. At number 6, you have Rambo 3 from 89. Number 7 on the list, you have like this cult classic here, Red Heat from 88. Number 9 on the list, you have this cult classic here, Total Recall from 1990. This is number 9 on the list. Lock Up, another cult classic from 89. It's number 9. And number 10 on the list, you have Basic Instinct from 1992. And basically, this is my top 10 list when it comes to Carolco movies. So let me know, guys, down below which one will be your top 10 list. If you agree with me, if you disagree, please feel free to. And there is some honorable mentions. There is 2 here. Also, Angel Heart. It's another 4K, nice release with Al Pacino. And you have this action here, Extreme Prejudice as well. Nick Nolte. And you have like Michael Ironside, Powers Boot as well. This is the UK release of Extreme Prejudice. It's another Carolco picture movie. As you can see, Mario Kassar, Andrei Vajna as well. It's another cult classic. This is just 2 honorable mentions. They didn't get to the list, but they could easily get to the list. And again, guys, this one, most of these Carolco movies have been restored on 4K. 90% of them, these most famous ones that were on my top 10 list. And yeah, guys, if you're first time watching my channel, what I do on this channel, basically I do reviews, unboxing of these cult classics from the 80s and the 90s that we grew up watching, like rankings, top 10s like this one you've just seen. And yeah, guys, feel free to subscribe, to follow my channel. Please hit that like button. And like always, I'll be with you guys soon reviewing, unboxing, and talking to you about all these cult classics we grew up watching from the 80s and the 90s. And let me know, guys, what you think about Carolco Pictures. If you love their movies growing up as well. Just going to show you guys one thing before I go. If you guys really love Carolco Pictures, there is like a really nice documentary on Total Recall. That is like a Total Access, how Carolco changed Hollywood. You can see here, this is like a nice, like a documentary. Is roughly one hour long. Is like how Hollywood, how Carolco changed Hollywood, is almost 1 hour long. And they talk about all the history of Carolco, or where since like they founded the Carolco till all their famous like hits, famous movies that I just show you on these top 10 until they went bankruptcy. So it's a really nice one. You get it on the 4K or even the Blu-ray of Total Recall. It's almost 1 hour long. And if you guys like Carolco Pictures, and you can get Total Recall, there is almost 1 hour long documentary talking just about Carolco Pictures, and it's a really amazing amazing, nice one. And yeah, like guys, let me know what you think about this top 10, and let me know if Carolco was one of your favorite like studios growing up as well, because if you grew up in the 80s, in the 90s, almost impossible for you guys not like not to have loved the Carolco, because they were responsible for giving us so many amazing moments and memories growing up with all these cult classics that I've just shown you guys. And I'll be with you guys soon, and keep strong.